Namaste. In the previous episode, we had discussed about trademark and GI registration. Yet again, we have a very interesting topic. In conversation with Dr. Mohan Dewan, let's dive into the episode right away. Dr. Dewan, thank you for being on the show. So, can you tell me what are copyrights and what is the relevance of copyrights in the AYUSH industry?
Muskan, as far as copyrights are concerned, they are the oldest form of intellectual property rights. Copyrights are the domain of authors, creators. Now in the modern space, for example, coders are also owners of copyrights. Copyrights are something that are by convention. There are international conventions that cover copyrights. The Berne Convention or the Universal Copyright Convention. Copyrights are intellectual property rights that are automatically bestowed on as soon as you create something, as soon as you create a literary work or a manual or a video, there is automatic copyright. The copyright means what it suggests, the right to copy. The right to copy is only available with the author who has created that work. So he can give a license, he or she can give a license to another person to use it. So that is copyright is. Now in the AYUSH industry, I would say, whether it is pharma, there are different aspects of copyright. For example, your manuals, the manuals that are there, the standard operating procedures that are there, the advertisement material that is there. These are all subject matter of copyright, and they are owned by the persons who created these works. So all this material that goes as paraphernalia to the basic product that is sold or the service that is offered, that would be subject matter of copyright. All right?
Yeah, okay. So, Dr. Dewan, what are the benefits of obtaining a copyright protection in the AYUSH sector?
As I said earlier, copyright protection is automatic. As soon as a work is created, whether it is an Ayurvedic manual or whether it's a podcast, as soon as that work is created, the copyright is automatically bestowed on the person who created that work. In India, there is something more. Very few countries in the world offer this kind of additional protection. There is this aspect called copyright, registration of copyright.
Yes.
So we can register, for example, an Ayurvedic manual, a manual that is created, or a treatise that is there, or a podcast, or certain digital coding, or some publicity material, or your website. These are protectable by registration. What registration does under the Copyright Act, there is a separate Copyright Act that deals with this. And registration under the Act allows authors, allows creators of these works to date their works. What happens is in any litigation or any dispute relating to copyright infringement, what is very important, what is very difficult, is to establish when was that work created, when was the painting done, or when was the manual written, when was the treatise done, who wrote the treatise first, who wrote this work first, who created this podcast first. Now the registration of that particular work under the Copyright Act gives you firstly a certificate which can be produced in a court of law, and in addition, more importantly, it gives you a date on which that work was created. And if the other person in the dispute cannot establish an earlier date, then the copyright owner or the author who actually originally created that work is able to stop the other person or claim damages or profits or some value for the work that owner that creator created. All right. So
Yes.
that is the importance of copyright protection in the Ayush industry. For example, the entire the Ayurvedic treaties that are written, the podcasts that are done, the website work that is done, the artistic labels that are made. They are. It is important for them to protect the copyright in these works by the registration process.
Yes, I think that means that we should certainly have a copyright protection done for any kind of literary or any work we have.
Yes.
Can you run us through the copyright registration process in India, sir?
Sure, Muskan. Before I start with the copyright registration process, I must uh, make a clarification. In India, as I said earlier, copyright registration it doesn't lead to a right. Like trademark registrations lead to a right of ownership of copyright of trademarks. Copyright registration does not give you a right for if somebody registers a copyright, that doesn't mean he becomes the owner of that copyright. Copyright registration is for the purposes of when it comes to enforcement, it is useful, and if and when you need to establish a time of ownership, it becomes useful. The copyright registration process starts with filling an online form, and that has various places that or various aspects that need to be filled in the form. For instance, you need to give when the work was created, the date when the work was created, the language in which the work was created, whether it was published or not published, who is the publisher, and for example, if it is the lines of code, then we need to give 50 lines or two sets of 50 lines of code, the start and the finish. That has to be provided. In the case of manuals, for example, if they are to be launched manuals, to be published manuals, we'll need to give copies of those manuals digitally to the Copyright Office. The Copyright Office examines the application and examines the work, and then may or may not issue an objection letter. And if you respond to the objection letter, if that is cleared, it's through, the registration certificate comes. If it is not through, then sometimes there is a hearing. So there is a process that is involved, and certain amount of fees that are involved at different stages, and the copyright then eventually gets registered. The copyrights are registered in different classes of works. For example, literary works, artistic works, cinematographic films, musical works. Each of these would be associated with, and they are important for the Ayush industry in their own category. So it's important to register these works to claim your date of creation, and sometimes to create to link the author or the creator of the work with somebody who owns the work. They may be the same, they may be different, but to record this the entire copyright creation and ownership process, it is important to register the work with the Copyright Office.
So, Dr. Diwan, let's shift focus to trade secrets. What are trade secrets and why are they important in the Ayush industry?
In fact, the Ayush industry thrives, and foundation of any new industry or an existing industry in the Ayush sector are trade secrets. This is the foundation. In fact, traditionally in India, in India, the Ayush industry, I would say, let's say, whether it is the medicinal branch of the Ayush industry or the cosmetic branch of the Ayush industry or the wellness branch of the Ayush industry, the basis has been trade secrets. In India, industry flourished by word of mouth. For example, the head of the family would then give this industry orally. There was an oral tradition, and these kind of secrets in the profession, in the business, were not shared even in writing. It was shared. A classic example of a trade secret that has been protected is the Coke formula, the formula for Coca-Cola. It has been maintained as a trade secret for now several, I would say, over a century. In India, let's take, for example, the famous example of the Ayurvedic fish, Ayurvedic preparation that is placed in a fish,
The asthma cure.
and the asthma cure in Hyderabad. It is a tradition, that trade secret of what is fed, when it is fed to the fish, when it is at what point of time, that entire is now is a trade secret that goes from generation to generation, and nobody has been able to replicate that particular for that formula. Now, formulas, for example, the methods of making making Ayurvedic preparations, the bhasmas and the grits, they are called. They move from generation to generation, and sometimes they are documented. And maintaining this documentation is extremely important. It's the foundation. I would again repeat that it is the foundation of the Ayurvedic or the Ayush industry.
Yes, sir. I think a trade secret is a said formula, unsaid formula of success, I would say.
Yes, in the Ayush
In the
industry.
Ayush industry.
Yes.
What would be the strategies to protect confidential information in the Ayush industry?
As I said earlier, for the Ayush industry, their trade secrets, confidential information is the most important, is the cardinal uh, factor. You must have proper policies, internal policies. What I've seen in my experience is that the biggest threat is inside, uh, and we need to protect the confidential information of the enterprise from our own people, the workers, the staff, and our and the persons working in the industry are the people whom we need to protect the confidential information the most. Therefore, employees, for example, the non-disclosure agreements have to be watertight. Secondly, your vendors, people from whom you buy products, you need to have non-disclosure agreements, confidentiality agreements with them to ensure that they don't violate it. You need to have confidential and non-disclosure agreements with your employees so that they don't violate it. At a particular point of time, we need to take, if there is even a whisper of violation, then you need to immediately protect yourself by taking legal action. The other aspect is that maintain confidential information or trade secrets at different locations.
Mm-hmm.
For example, the raw material information should be protected in one location for one group, so that uh, I would say that information should be shared only on a need to know basis, rather than having the entire process, for example, of making a new product in one dossier. It must be
Mm-hmm.
separated into different dossiers, and different employees know only different aspects of the manufacturing process. That is one way that your confidential information in for manufacturing a particular product can be protected.
Yes, that makes sense, Dr. Devan. So, to sum it up with, can you give the viewers who are watching, the new entrepreneurs who are watching, can you give them some piece of advice how to actually go about safeguarding the confidential information?
As I said, the strategies that we are employing must be documented properly, and people and the employees, whether they are at whatever grade they are, must be vetted properly. Vet these employees to ensure that I select proper employees who would be trustworthy to maintain this confidential information. And whenever there is a breach of confidential information, it must be legally enforced at an opportune time, to ensure that further confidential information is not breached. Also, one will need to strategize that taking these legal steps act as a deterrent to further breaches.
Mm-hmm.
So, have proper policies, have proper documentation, have proper agreements, and consult with proper professionals how to ensure that. And finally, take action when it is necessary and due. And finally, publicize these actions so that they act as deterrents for your future employees and future confidential information.
A very detailed brief, doctor. Thank you so much. I'm sure my viewers would be very happy listening to this, and they would be now taking certain points to how to protect their copyrights. So, we come to an end of yet another interesting episode. Today, we learned about copyrights and confidential information. We'll come up with a very interesting topic in the next episode. Till then, namaste.